My name is John.
Hiking is a popular outdoor activity for many people. It connects you with nature, challenges you physically and mentally, and creates unforgettable memories. But what happens when the hiking trip turns into a nightmare? This video will share 3 true horror stories of hikers who had terrifying experiences during their trip. So subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. Story number 1. A substantial nature preserve is located near my home. Our residence is located in a densely populated suburban environment, where vegetation is sparse. This preserve is a green oasis spanning miles, with biking and hiking trails. Picture yourself exploring this as I recount an event from 2016. One unusually quiet evening, at about 9 p.m., I chose to undertake a run. I'm not your standard person. I relish solitude while engaging in my runs. With my mobile phone firmly grasped and its flashlight dancing on the path in front of me, I embarked on my run along the preserve's fringe and onto the dirt hiking trail. Night runs invigorated me, giving me a particular surge of energy that I can't describe in simple words. There were no artificial lights to pollute the natural beauty around. A week prior, a lifeless body was discovered in the woods, but that didn't perturb me much, given the relative safety of our neighborhood. It was a weekday, and the preserve was utterly deserted, barring my presence. Approximately 10 minutes into the run, I felt exhausted. I spotted a nearby bench and decided to take a breather. It was undeniably eerie out there, akin to being alone in an unlit forest. The rustling of leaves and the breaking of sticks echoed around me, which I brushed off as harmless woodland critters. However, the hair on my back stood up when I noticed a tall figure, particularly concealed behind a tree. My iPhone's flashlight was substandard in piercing the darkness sufficiently. I cautiously approached the figure, doing a crouched walk to maintain my discreetness. As I got closer, I noticed a hand wrapped around the tree. The hand wore an antique white glove, which made my heart drop. Out of nowhere, a person dressed as a clown holding a spiked bat stepped into my flashlight's beam. This occurrence coincided with the disturbing clown epidemic that was rampant in 2016. The full clown costume, from makeup to shoes, was clearly visible in the faint light. It provoked a wave of terror in me when he menacingly approached, bat in hand. Exhausted but undeterred, I vaulted into a sprint, veering off the trail and barreling through the trees. I nearly retched from exhaustion until I extinguished my flashlight and hid behind a tree. The sound of footsteps zoomed past me, eventually disappearing into the distance. I retraced my steps back to the trail and sprinted towards the main road, where I gave in to my nausea. The prior dead body incident was associated with the clown epidemic, which led me to avoid the preserve for some time, particularly during the hours of darkness. This ordeal was a wake-up call, and since then, I never ventured there after sunset. Story number 2. This tale dates back to no more than 3 weeks ago. It's a memory that's found its way into my thoughts frequently. I'm certain that my patient and I were nearly the victims of a predator. I'm employed by my state, serving individuals suffering from addictive disorders and mental health issues. I also work, albeit to a lesser extent, with those experiencing mild developmental delays. Within this context, my role is akin to that of a junior social worker. One of my principal responsibilities is to ensure that the individuals I work with can achieve their annual personal objectives, much like the Individualized Education Program's IEP used in our public schools. For instance, one of my patients has set a goal to walk or hike at least 1 mile thrice a week. Therefore, when I visited her home, I needed to observe her walking and hiking capabilities. To show me, she led us on a walk along a nearby hiking trail. Interestingly, our ages both hover around the 40-year mark. As we impelled along the trail, we reached a secluded spot, a departure from the populated trail winding around the neighborhood pond. Instead, we found ourselves in the solitude of a forest in a cotton field. Mid-conversation, she abruptly halted. The moment she muttered, "I have a bad feeling," I too was overwhelmed with the sensation of being observed. Due to her developmental delays, my concern was primarily centered on her well-being over my own. Fear was not what I felt, but rather a potent sensation of protection towards her. Upon hearing the crunch of leaves, I turned to see a man, probably in his 30s, materialize from the woods and inching towards us. Isolation was our only companion. There were no other people nearby. Given his sudden emergence from the woods, the appearance and behavior of this man conveyed ill intentions. I instructed her to keep moving, allowing her to get ahead. Overwhelmed by an inexplicable instinct, I spun around, halted, and stared at him. Our eyes locked in silence. In that instant, his stride froze, and he ceased advancing towards us. It was as though he realized his presence was now known. I continued holding his gaze before slowly moving toward my patient, making it clear that my intention was fixated on him. Yet, as I retreated backward, I noticed my patient looking back toward him. At that moment, he vanished into the woods as swiftly as he had appeared. If his intentions were innocent, and he merely wanted a peaceful walk along the nature trail, why did he abruptly stop upon being noticed? Why didn't he simply continue his walk and overtake us? It was evident that he was lying in wait for a woman to wander down the isolated trail. The timing of his emergence from the woods clearly indicated that he was on the hunt. I remained steadfast in my belief that the unsettling feeling experienced by my patient, coupled with my own suspicions, saved us from an unsavory fate that this man undoubtedly had in store. Story number 3. Camping in Colorado had always been a dream of mine. Advertised as the top-notch place for camping enthusiasts in the country, Colorado beckoned me with its promise of picturesque landscapes, diverse wildlife, and the thrill of exploration along the adventurous trails. One spot that particularly caught my interest was Austin Hall's Campground, a quaint and visually striking location nestled by the West River in Barkham Stead, an intimate campground with a limited capacity of only 30. It made up for its size with various amenities, like a picnic area, a boat launch, and a fishing pier. It was also conveniently close to various hiking trails and waterfalls. A perfect retreat, I thought, for a weekend escape into nature's lap. With expectations rising, I packed my car with all my camp essentials: tent, sleeping bag, cooler, lantern, along with my camera, binoculars, and a book to enjoy the serenity I sought. Excited for a break from the urban hustle and work pressure, I embarked on a 4-hour drive, soaking in the scenic beauty of the mountains and forests. I reached the campground around noon and checked in at the ranger station. The ranger handed me a map and cautioned me about bears, recommending I store my food in a bear-proof container, as there has been recent sightings of a sizable black bear. Thankful for the advice, I proceeded to my assigned spot, number 15. I pitched my tent under the shade of a pine tree and secured my food inside the car trunk. I noticed the campground wasn't overly crowded, just a few other friendly campers, families with kids or young couples, who amicably waved as I went by. Curiosity led me to explore the campground more. The picnic area with its large wooden table, fire pit, grill, and a little dock at the boat launch. A sign at the boat launch announcing boat rentals nudged me to explore the river by kayak. I paid the rental fee, clad myself in a life jacket, and set off a gentle paddle across the calm, clear river with a paddle in hand. I enjoyed the leisurely pace and the sounds of nature, spotting ducks and geese, and even witnessed fish leap out of the water. Gliding along the shore, admiring the flora, I felt a peaceful euphoria until things took a sharp turn. The river, now getting deeper and faster, mesmerized me to the point of danger. It dawned upon me that I had drifted too far into an unsafe stretch of the river, with ominous rocks and rapids ahead. Despite my efforts to turn around, the strong current pushed me towards the rapids. Much to my horror, my kayak struck a rock and capsized, throwing me into the shockingly cold water. As I struggled to resurface amidst the churning water, pain shot through my leg, and I saw the disturbing sight of blood billowing around me. I was bleeding from a cut by a rock. Desperate to stop the bleeding and recover the kayak, I felt my consciousness ebb away. The thought of drowning seemed imminent. Suddenly, I felt a strong grip on my life jacket, pulling me upwards. Blinking, open my eyes, I caught sight of a helicopter with a red cross on it, hovering above me, and a paramedic descending towards me. I couldn't make out his words through the noise, but his reassuring gestures made me realize help had arrived. With a swift ascent, the paramedic helped me into a harness and signaled the pilot I was going to be okay. He mentioned I had lost a lot of blood and needed to stay awake while he bandaged my wound. Soon, I was lifted aboard the helicopter and flown toward safety, grateful for a second chance at life. If you liked this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more content like this.